Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee. Hopefully the internet is fine and connected. I think Trevor's face is probably indicating he experienced the same thing as me.
You look blurry.
Do I sound fine to you?
You sound fine.
I do?
You just look like you were made in the 1960s Pong game.
Interesting. Let me just... Okay. I mean, you introduced the show to the people. I'm going to refresh and figure that... I didn't hit that. What's going on?
I didn't click it either. I was like, that's one way to refresh. We're here, man. We haven't week 11, baby.
Jesus. Okay. 1 sec. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, hey, if you're here, you got me. The best of the third of the Flurry Sports main trio here. It's week 11. How did everybody's week 10 go? I hope it went well. I hope you won. I hope your team wasn't like Brandon Staley's team who put up 1,000 points but still lost because he's incompetent. But Zach is back, and we're here for fantasy football rankings and advice. I think I killed it. And Zach is still very slow and very much muted. So I'm just going to keep going. Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. Oh, man, he is in slow motion. Goodness gracious. This is like a bad 2K. Oh, this is wild. We haven't had this in a while. But Fantasy Football by Committee, welcome. We'll just get it started. We'll see if we can get his Wi-Fi sorted out. If not, it's just me. And that should be terrifying to all of you. But beside the point, Fantasy Football by Committee, as always, check out the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group. That's where you can ask us about trades, start, sit, pickup, anything. It's a good community. We're going to make it what the Twitter Fantasy Football community used to be, as Zach is back and looking good, I think. Now he's frozen again. Beside the point, join Fantasy Football by Committee. You can ask us questions. You can answer other questions as well. Do that. As always, go to Flurry Sports on YouTube, subscribe. Let's get us to 12,000 subscribers and everywhere where you catch podcasts. Without further ado, let's just kind of jump into the rankings. Again, these are rankings on flurrysports.org, done by our fearless leader, Zach Bruner. And half PPR quarterbacks are ranked 1 through 5 for week 11 as follows. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes against the Eagles. Number 2, Jalen Hurts at Kansas City. Number 3, Lamar against Cincinnati. Number 4, Josh Allen against the Jets. And number 5, Dak Prescott at Carolina. So looking at these 5, there's not really a surprise here. Obviously, I think some may be surprised by Josh Allen. Obviously, with some of the problems he has had with turnovers, but the fact of the matter remains, he runs the ball a lot. They'll be passing a lot, so he's obviously there. Dak Prescott, we saw what he did to the Giants as well. And then you got Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Lamar Jackson. They're pretty much matchup proof there, so they're pretty good. Then we will look other notable names. CJ Stroud, obviously, got an upset over Cincinnati. He's at 6, Tua at 7, Kyler at 8. We got Justin Fields come back from injury against Detroit at 12, Joe Burrow at 14, Jordan Love at 20, Will Levis at 22. Those are your brief looks. And it looks like we've got a question from Jared Thornton. PPR redraft, need a wide receiver. What wide receiver can I get for Kyler Murray? That's an interesting question. Let me know. Let us know in the comments, Jared. Is this a super flex league? How deep is the league? Like, is it a 3 wide receiver, 2 wide receiver? How many teams are in the league? Because that'll change things. Like, if it's a super flex league, obviously I think Kyler Murray's value is worth more. If it's a 2 wide receiver league as opposed to a 4 wide receiver league, wide receivers will have differing value as well. So let us know what kind of league it is. I know it's PPR redraft, but is there a super flex? How many teams are in there? But assuming it's just a standard PPR redraft, 10 teams, 2 wide receivers, I would assume you can probably get a wide receiver 2 for him. I know for some people that may seem a little steep, but outside of the top 5, top 6, top 7, let's see, single quarterback, 12 team, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. I think you can get a definite wide receiver 2 for him because there are 12 teams. I mean, you just look at the quarterbacks this week, quarterbacks 9, 10, 11, 12, Herbert, Goff, Howell, Fields. There hasn't been a lot of good quarterback play. Not good consistent play. You're going to get that with Kyler Murray. So if we're looking this week, I mean, wide receiver 2, I would look, maybe you can get a Garrett Wilson. Maybe if you can convince somebody, even though Matthew Stafford's coming back, maybe you can get a Puka Nacua. Adam Thielen, I tend to stray away with. He's kind of regressing a little bit, slowing down a little bit. Maybe you can get a Marquise Brown. That would be kind of nice. You can get one of the receivers he throws to. Maybe a little Christian Kirk, maybe a little DJ Moore. I know some of these guys are higher guys, but I mean, I truly think you can get that for Kyler Murray. So I think it all depends too on your trade deadline. I'd assume it's this week. And if it's this week, somebody's going to be scrambling for a quarterback. You can get a good thing from Kyler Murray. So like I said, go wide receiver 2, like a DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua. Go for the guys that have had bad last couple weeks or, bad quarterback situations that are going to improve. And, deal with other people's, need to get a quarterback now. So going back to quarterbacks, obviously some interesting name, Dorian Thompson Robinson, 23. It looks like he'll be starting above Deshaun Watson. And so that'll be interesting. Obviously, they're playing Pittsburgh with that defense. If that defensive line gets home, that's going to be a problem. But Dorian Thompson Robinson, he has shown his running ability, so that's a good thing there. Zach Wilson against Buffalo, tough test. But Buffalo helped make Russell Wilson look great, so that's something. Bryce Young against Dallas at 26. I think this is where we stop even looking at quarterbacks. You don't want Bryce Young, Tommy DeVito, Kenny Pickett. None of these guys are guys you even want, even in Superflex leagues, especially Bryce Young against Dallas. Where he is mainly different, it looks like he has 2 or 3 spots lower from 4 to 7. It looks like he also has Kyler Murray at 8, whereas the consensus is 11. And outside of that, pretty similar across the board. And it makes sense. I mean, we don't really know what we're going to get out of these quarterbacks. The top 7, top 6 are going to be solid, are going to be great. And, everybody else, it's kind of a dime a dozen. You kind of got to go for broke. Looking at some of the comments, Zach McAdoo says Jordan Love hasn't looked bad the last few weeks. I don't think he's looked bad against Pittsburgh. I don't know if I would agree with the last few weeks. I think there's some arm talent issues there. I think certainly hasn't been helped by the team or the offensive line or the scheme, but He's got some arm talent issues there. Stoof, welcome as always. And then Zach McAdoo says Zach Wilson going to end up looking like Brady's prime on Sunday. Don't know about that. Seeing that Zach Wilson is playing Buffalo. Buffalo's defense has been ran ragged with injuries, but still a little bit of a hit. Stoof, I know it's not the same, but we're back. And speaking of Stoof being back, look who else is back. Zach Bruner helped me out. I'm glad you're carrying the load, Zach. Are you here finally?
Okay. Can you hear me?
All right.
Am I good?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Does my mic sound fine? I had to completely disable everything.
I'm pretty sure anything's better than me just rambling on about quarterbacks and trying to guess how many off you are off the cuff. But yeah, we got quarterbacks taken care of.
You just guessed how many off I was?
No, I knew, but doing it in real time doesn't make for great products, you know.
True. Thank you for carrying the show. It's pretty. Yeah, I guess I am McAdoo. It's pretty incredible. My computer just decided, hey, there's no internet here, even though it's hard connected. So I don't
like
whatever.
Your computer thought what everybody else said. Less Zach, more Trevor, because that has definitely been asked multiple times.
Fair enough. Did you talk anything about Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I said he's out for the season. Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be interesting against Pittsburgh. Obviously, that D-line is good. Secondary, I don't know about you, hasn't really been up to par with the usual Pittsburgh secondary. Obviously, Minka's been hurt. But even if the secondary is good, Thompson-Robinson is an interesting piece just because of his legs. I don't know how much it'll get him, but it makes him an interesting piece.
For sure. I think Joey Porter Jr. certainly come along there in Pittsburgh, but yeah, I mean the best way I would assume to beat this Pittsburgh pass rush is to have a quarterback who can move around and possibly escape the pocket, so they have to be a little bit conservative on the edge, except for TJ Watt. Like Highsmith has to at least be a little bit more conservative. That helps. In week 4 in Baltimore, looks like Thompson-Robinson carried 4 times for 24 yards for whatever that's worth. That's a game I believe he started and played the whole thing. He didn't play well whatsoever. 52% completion rate, 3 interceptions, no touchdown. I don't think you're starting him, obviously. We'll talk about receivers in a little bit, but clearly it feels like Amari Cooper is the biggest player to get hurt by this. Against all odds, I thought Cooper was a terrible play last week. Even the week before that, I didn't necessarily love him, but it certainly seems like him and Deshaun Watson had a pretty strong chemistry. And now, got to start all over. I think Njoku, you can probably value roughly the same, but running backs might get a little bit better, more checkdowns there. I don't know. I don't think you really need to bother with Thompson-Robinson in terms of actually playing him. And in terms of future-wise, dynasty-wise, it's tough because, I mean, the Browns are committed to Deshaun Watson at this point. It's not like there's any chance he starts next year, and I don't think he'd get traded either. So, weird situation. But yeah, I think Kyler Murray you can for sure trust. I think you can trust Josh Dobbs. And Justin Fields comes back, and I think you start him most likely if you have him.
So I don't know if he's still here, but we had a question from Jared. I want to hear your opinion. PPR redraft, he needs a wide receiver. What wide receiver can he get for Kyler Murray? Single quarterback, 12 team, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex.
I mean, it kind of depends on how desperate that person is that needs a quarterback, but I value Kyler Murray as probably a low-end quarterback 1. I feel like you could go for a Zay Flowers. I feel like maybe a Deontay Johnson. I'm looking at that low-end wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 area. I can't imagine you could do better. Maybe you can get Calvin Ridley, who should have better matchups ahead. He's certainly been underperforming. That's not one, or that's a player I don't mind going for right now to trade low. But yeah, I don't think I'm not sure if you're coming in and getting like, I think people too often confuse like, oh, quarterback one should go for an RB, one should go for a wide receiver one. And that's just not the case.
Yeah, I said I should have expanded on it. I said he could go for a wide receiver too. I forgot to mention you're probably going to be including a wide receiver in that as well, like a wide receiver and Murray for a good wide receiver too. But
Sure.
yeah, I think we're at pretty much the same value there.
Stu's been projected to win every single week so far this year in my home league and might miss the playoffs. Isn't that fun?
Stoof, this is why everybody needs to have a game every week against the league median. It has to happen. It's so much better when you add it.
True. Unless he's been projected to win every week and his team just doesn't show up, which is also possible. But I assume you're scoring a decent amount. So that sucks. Let's just go to running backs here. Again, fire away questions, start sit, trade questions, anything and everything. I think we've proven that we will answer at this point. But my number one running back for the week, it's not a debate. It's Christian McCaffrey. He plays the Bucks this week. I have Austin Eckler 2 versus the Packers. Travis Etienne 3 versus the Titans. Josh Jacobs 4 at the Dolphins in Montgomery. I have at 5, which I know is higher than most people, but I have him at 5 at home against his former team. Anybody there that stands out to you?
I guess it doesn't really have to do with his rankings, but I feel like Travis Etienne is not getting enough respect for what he's doing in fantasy. I feel like he's just flying under the radar. We're not talking about it. I think he's a running back 3. This is a guy who coming into the season was projected around Najee Harris range. He was ADP wise, at least for sleeper. I took Najee because of the way the bye weeks set up, and I ended up getting sniped anyways on my bye week guys. But nobody's talking about him. He's an easy plug and play, top 5 every week, I think. And if you draft him, you got to be feeling pretty good in the 3rd round with getting him.
Remember preseason? I'm trying to find the exact quote, but there's something like Doug Peterson's wants ETN to get 16 to 1,700 yards this year or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, I want 16 to 1,700 yards too, but who fucking cares? He's not going to get that, but he is given that workload. Like, we didn't think he was going to be a bell cow. It really didn't make sense. And maybe it still doesn't make sense, but he's stayed healthy. He is playing damn well. And up until last week, he went on quite the touchdown streak, which obviously helps. So, not too shabby. Clayton, is that the next question here? Yes. I got Derrick Henry for Tony Pollard straight up. He gets Derrick Henry. How do you feel? Who wins that trade, Trevor?
It sucks. Like, I have no reason for saying it. First of all, I think you win the trade. But like Tony Pollard, I feel like, they're getting him the ball, and they're getting on the ball in good situations. Like last week against the Giants, I think there was at least one situation where he was tackled inches short. Against the Eagles, they got called for a ineligible formation because somebody didn't report. Otherwise, he had an easy touchdown. There were no flags there. So like the touchdowns, for as much as people like are hating on him, are there, and he has the opportunities, and he's so close. And I feel like he's so close to breaking him out. And then you add in the pass catching role. He's tough to project, but I'm still holding on to him if I can. And I think at the end of the year, if he surpasses Henry and goes on a tear here, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Everything in my heart, my brain, my gut, everything has been just telling me Tony Pollard's a buy low. He's going to break out. Like you said, the opportunities are there. The plays are there to be made. And he just continues to fall slightly a little bit too short. And for that reason, I feel like Tony Pollard's better rest of season than Derrick Henry. We looked at Derrick Henry's schedule preseason. We're so jacked up that he got to play the Texans twice at the end of the year. That's still up ahead. And we're like, that's 200 yards apiece. I don't know.
He might not get 100. Stroud might control that game.
Well, this Titans offensive line we knew was terrible. It's even worse than terrible. The team's they're losing games now. They're clearly dead last in the AFC South. It makes sense for the Titans to manage his workload the rest of the season. And if you're managing Derrick Henry's workload, so he's getting fewer carries, no room to run. Obviously, his best work is done in the fourth quarter. And if they're not controlling the game and he's getting taken out of the game, like, I don't like Derrick Henry going forward. Like, I don't think if he's an RB2, I think he's a low end RB2 rest of season. I don't trust it at all. He needs a touchdown. Like, I don't think the big yardage is there. Purdy or Howell this week?
I'm going Howell.
I assume I had Purdy a little higher. Let me see.
Oh, wait.
I have Howell at 11, Purdy at 13. Purdy plays the Bucs, who have been terrible against the pass. Howell plays the Giants, who have been terrible against everything. Like, I'll go. I have Howell a little bit higher. It wouldn't surprise me if they, get up and lean on Brian Robinson, though. But yeah, I'm still going him. Alex, I need to pick up a defense this week, but the waiver wire is looking slim. There's the Chargers, Titans, Texans, Jags, Jets. Jets went off against the Bills in week 1, so I'm considering that. I don't hate the Jets, but I have a feeling I have one of those other ones ranked higher.
Chargers play the Packers.
I have them at 11.
Titans play the Jags. I wouldn't touch them.
No.
Texans play the Cardinals. That could be something. Giants play Washington, and Jets obviously play the Bills.
I have the Chargers ranked the highest.
Okay, I was thinking Chargers and Jets, and then Texans. And then I don't think you touch Giants or Titans because, Jordan, this defense isn't great for the Chargers, but the Packers are going to make them look good, like they have all year.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Clayton, this was the running back question. I'm 4-6. I have Brees as my RB1. I just can't afford any more duds from Tony Pollard. I get it, but I mean, can you afford duds from Derrick Henry?
I guess it depends too what you're in. Because if you're PPR, then I definitely don't like this trade because obviously Pollard versus Henry there. Half PPR, sure. I guess I can get it full PP or standard. I don't know why you'd play standard, but standard, I guess they'd be the most even, I'd assume.
For sure. Nicholas, am I starting Dak or Kyler this week? In what 3 running backs and half PPR of A-Chain plays? ETN, A-Chain, Brian Robinson, and or Keaton Mitchell. Yeah, you said Keaton Mitchell for sure. I think I have Dak slightly higher. Who do the Cowboys play this week?
Carolina.
Yeah, I have Dak at 5, and I have Kyler Murray at 8. So yeah,
Dak. I think the only problem with Dak possibly is that they're beating the crap out of Carolina too much. But we saw it against the Giants. McCarthy just kept throwing the ball, which I get it's different because it's the Giants, but Mike McCarthy's not taking his foot off the gas with this team. No way.
No, they're making a statement right now. He knows he needs to build Dak Prescott's confidence going into the playoffs. So certainly a nice schedule down the stretch to do so. Okay, so notable running backs here. Most people have Gibbs ranked above David Montgomery. Bears run defense has actually been pretty solid. I'm still going Montgomery over Gibbs. I think it's pretty obvious that Montgomery has higher touchdown upside, despite both of them scoring last week. So I have Montgomery 5, Gibbs 7. I mentioned him earlier. I really like Brian Robinson this week. He has been scoring touchdowns at an extremely high rate. Like, I think that's getting slept on. He was the RB1 last week. He gets the Giants this week, so I certainly love that. And then I feel like the next big thing to talk about is the Miami backfield. And if anyone has confidence, like telling you confidence about how they're ranking them, I feel like it's blind confidence or they're just stupid. Like, we don't know who's going to be the lead guy. I don't think Miami knows who's going to be the lead guy. I think it's going to be a hot hand approach. I have Mostert ranked the highest, which again, I think is flipped from the consensus. I have him at RB9. I have A-Chain at RB11, which I feel like is too high, but they do play the Raiders. And then Jeff Wilson, I know I'm higher on. I have him at 52, which isn't a glowing endorsement. But I do think he steals some carries. It makes the Mostert and H-Chain owners upset. Trevor, who do you value highest out of Mostert and H-Chain? Because I don't have a strong lean, to be honest.
I don't like everything in me is saying Mostert because he gets the most carries, but like Chain's breaking a lot of big ones and it doesn't seem sustainable and it doesn't make sense, but it's happening. And just because it doesn't make sense doesn't mean it doesn't count. So I guess I'd go Mostert, but I mean, I don't think there is an answer. Like Jeff Wilson could come in and screw shit up too. We don't know.
Yeah, the whole breaking big plays, obviously. That's the Keaton Mitchell thing as well. Like, he had no business of having a good week last week. He had 4 touches, and half of those touches went for negative yards. So, like, what are we even doing here? But he had 2 big plays. And could A-Chain continue to do that against the Raiders? Absolutely, especially coming off a bye. Tua's got some stupid-ass cornrows now, and I don't know.
He
I feel
wants
like
to do AI so bad.
it's just weird. I feel like this is the turning point for the Dolphins and not in a good way. Coming off the bye, they're feeling good. In-season Hard Knock starts, I believe, next week with the Dolphins. I feel like the demise is coming. But, that's just a
And
gut call.
especially with Tyreek Hill there, like if anything goes south even a little bit, he's going to create some drama, and that's not going to help.
No, not at all. Nicholas, yeah, not much for Pollard at the moment. I think there's more opportunities than people are giving him credit for, as Trevor said, though. Full PPR, if I was to trade Pollard, are there running backs, wide receivers you feel good about rest of season that you think could be packaged into a reasonable trade? I do have Ramondre on the bench. I mean, I still love Ramondre. I truly don't know where people value Tony Pollard is kind of where I'm at, though. Like, in my mind, you should be able to trade Pollard away and get Brian Robinson and something else. But I also kind of value Brian Robinson equally as Tony Pollard rest of season too.
Yeah, yeah, I would. And it's weird with Pollard. Full PPR, I think you'll get more, like I said, the most value out of him, and I think that's a good selling point. Like if you're able to talk to guys, because Pollard, I mean, I would say he's at his floor, um, and so all you have to do is convince him he's going to be better. Um, I think you can, if you really want to. I think there may be somebody if they're really top heavy and top of the league, but has no depth. I think you could trade Pollard and Ramondre for a very good running back one. I don't know if you'd agree with that though.
Like, I think you could. I'm standing firm. I think you can't trade Tony Pollard right now. I think it makes 0 sense. Like, his matchups coming up are Carolina, Washington, Seattle, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, the Lions. I like every single matchup. Not only are there teams that he can run against, but there's teams with strong offenses that are going to force the Cowboys to be aggressive and score points as well, which I think is great for Tony Pollard. I understand he hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1, but he's gotten close. I think the seal is going to be broken at some point, and he's had over 50 yards in every single game this year. I understand that's somewhat of a low bar, but just looking around at the running back landscape, it kind of isn't at the current moment. So, I mean, you just add a touchdown to any of his outputs and you're fine. Like, it's an RB1 week. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Carolina, Washington, Seattle, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. He can score a touchdown against every one of those guys. But, I mean, devil's advocate, could he have scored a touchdown against the Giants last week? Sure. But I don't know. There's no way you're getting equal value or honest value for Tony Pollard right now. There's no way. Right?
No, not at all. It's so weird too because like you said, like in one of the leagues, like if I trade for Tony Pollard, I mean, what do you even start with? I mean, because everybody's so different. It's not like, hey, what do you, everybody, what do you think of Pollard? Let me know on the message board. It's, I mean, the good thing is, I think something that not a lot of people are thinking of enough is bye weeks behind them. I
True.
think Brian Robinson's, his is coming up. Bijan's is this week. Ramondre's is this week. I think that's something that's nice. But how many people are going to care about that much, I guess?
I mean, the people who need, you have a guy that you're never going to have to sit. 1 second here while I get Luke in here. I'm opening a new browser, which is a risky move considering how the internet has behaved so far. But in terms of other running backs, I don't know. I we'll see if Kyron Williams comes back this week. I feel like he would benefit from one more week off. And if he sits, obviously, still love Darrell Henderson going up against Seattle. I think you continue to start him. If Kyron Williams comes back, I'm interested to see the split. I think he comes back and is clearly the top guy, but it feels like it's going to be at a minimum, a 65-35 split. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Which is, that's more of a split than he gave up earlier in the year with nobody behind him, I guess. But yeah, I think he's still RB2 rest of season. Do you value him differently than that?
I'd probably keep him about there, RB2. I don't really have any strong feelings. I mean, this is just it feels like it's a really tough place for anybody to trade in right now. If you're looking to make one last push, like there's nobody that's like, hey, this guy, like we talked about Derrick Henry start of the season. Pollard, I'm sure he would be a great trade candidate if he was just average. Like there are a lot of teams that are in the middle ground here that I don't know there's no good way to go about this. And so I think for that, he stays in RB2, but if some things break a certain way, you could argue low RB1.
For sure. The running back landscape right now is just sad.
It's
really
all
like there's big names like Derrick Henry that I really don't trust. There's people who we had trust in, like Damian Pierce, who I don't want to come back because I want to keep riding Devin Singletary. Yeah, I don't know. What's up, Luke? How you doing?
Bye.
Hey, what's up? I didn't have internet for the start. Stoof is on YouTube and not Twitch, and he's having a moment about that. And running backs still suck.
And I monologued, son.
He did. Trevor had to keep the show afloat.
I learned something new today too.
Interesting. What's that?
The song Cotton Eye Joe is about a guy coming to town and having sexual intercourse with all the women in town and then leaving.
I did know that.
That was known? I never knew that.
I love that song. So I probably know too much, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel almost every wedding I've gone to, I'm not a dancer at weddings. I hate it. However, I do go up there and make the DJ play that song at least twice.
Dude, when that song gets going, like you kick your legs up. Yeah. Mine are parallel with the ground. That's all. Like that's how good that song is.
Yeah, of course. That's one of the few songs I'll dance to.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get up for Cotton Eye Joe. I'm not an animal, but right. Got to do it. Got to do it. Other running backs, I don't know. I guess let's just compare the consensus. Maybe that'll spark something. I am 5 higher on David Montgomery, I guess, at 5. So everyone has him at 10.
I assume that people have, does anyone have Jahmyr Gibbs higher than him? I'm sure.
Consensus has Jahmyr Gibbs as like a top 5 guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you feel about it? I know the Bears' run defense is good. I just think Montgomery's going to score the touchdown.
Yeah, I'm exactly with you. I still probably for the rest of the time that these two are on a team together, I feel much more comfortable that Montgomery is going to score than Gibbs. For
sure. It doesn't seem like a secret.
No.
I don't know.
With how good Montgomery was to start the year, I'm with you. There is no secret.
No. Why would they move away from that? It doesn't make sense.
Well, and I don't know if you guys heard Jahmyr Gibbs went on a podcast today or yesterday and said his touchdown near the goal line, David Montgomery, it was a play for him, and he came out and gave it to Gibbs, which is also really very funny. But whether you put truth into that or not, that's something.
What's Montgomery's touchdowns at? Because if that comes back to bite me, oh shit, I hit my future on David Montgomery already.
Hey-oh.
I need to go look at that. His season-long rushing touchdowns is at 6.5. That's
That's way too fucking low. What is he at now? He's got to already be at like 11.
He's at 7, but in 6 games.
Even 7 seems low, and he's missed how many weeks?
He's played 6 games.
He had 6 in 5 weeks to start the year.
Yeah. I mean, easiest bet of all time. I'm higher on Saquon Barkley, 6 spots higher, which is quite a bit. I have him as a top 10 guy. I have him at 8. I mean, I feel like the Giants are going to continue to feed him. That's not really a secret.
Yeah,
I have Brian Robinson at 10. That's 6 spots higher for everything I already said. 4 higher on Gus Edwards at 20. 4 higher on Darrell Henderson at 25. 4 higher on Kenneth Gainwell at 41. I'm not sure how you guys feel about this, but on Monday when I did the waiver wire stream, I said I think Kenneth Gainwell is the best handcuff in fantasy football right now. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't hate it.
At least the best unowned handcuff, at least.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
I like it.
Like, if DeAndre Swift gets hurt, which wouldn't shock me, they're not bringing Rashad Penny up. And I feel like Boston Scott is what Boston Scott is. And we've already seen Kenneth Gainwell start a game this year.
Yep. Yeah,
So
I'm with it.
I think people need to pay attention to that. Running backs I like less. And after I just gave my speech about him, I guess I really hate him this week. I'm 7 spots lower on Tony Pollard at 14. So people are ranking him as a top 10 guy, which, blind faith, I guess. Like, if you look at it in a 1-to-1, like a one specific situation and block out the previous 10 weeks, it makes sense.
Well, I'm sorry. Maybe this is ignorance on my part. Did he score last week?
No.
So the Dallas is putting up 40-plus points like multiple weeks, and Pollard is not involved in that.
Yeah. I know. Doesn't make sense. I'm also 7 spots lower on Keaton Mitchell at 37. You got to get at least 5 touches to get my interest,
Yep.
or at least 3 positive plays as well.
Yep.
Stoof, very good. Doing some interesting stuff there. Proud of you. Good stuff. While I introduce the wide receivers here, unless you guys have any other running backs you want to talk about, I guess.
I do have one. There was a tweet that I tagged Luke in, and I hope he saw it. There's that thing going on Twitter. Thanks, Luke. Glad you look at your mentions.
I haven't been on Twitter all day.
From me. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. It was that people or guys are crying or whatever, and it's just a sports player or whatever. That trend. And so the first picture up was a picture of Todd Gurley, and that made me sad today. He's still like 30. Isn't he only like 30? Like, he should not be this run down.
I think he's 29. I think he's the same age as me.
Insane.
One of us was a professional athlete, and the other one of us can walk. So you tell me who made out better.
Who ate better.
Yeah, exactly. As I jump into wide receivers here, look at that beautiful QR code.
Oh,
join Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Flurry to get a 100% deposit match. You can get $100 for free to sign up for Underdog Fantasy. That QR code will take you right to the app, right to the website, wherever you want. But you can play Pick'em. So you're playing props over there, picking higher or lower on a variety of stats or fantasy points. Also, so many of us are wishing it was draft day once again. Like, the best day of the fantasy football season, I can't say this enough, is draft day. And on Underdog, you can play their drafts or live drafts against other real people. Jump in there, and you can do a draft just for Thursday Night Football tomorrow night. You can do for the whole weekly slate. A bunch of other sports as well, NBA, NHL, PGA, stuff like that. And in a few weeks here, there's going to be best ball drafts starting back up for the NFL as well for the playoffs. I feel like playoffs best ball is even more, well, it's for sure more exciting than regular season best ball in my opinion. Smaller pool. Every game has a ton of stakes, less time to really pay attention to it. And, especially if you are Packer fans like us or fans of teams that are most likely not going to be making the playoffs, it gives you a reason to really tune into the playoffs, really cheer on specific teams, specific players. But yeah, join Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Flurry, FLURRY. There's also a link in the description below if you're on YouTube. Get a free $100. There's no reason not to. Double your deposit without even winning anything.
I mean,
Pretty
really,
good
if
deal.
you think about it, you could quadruple it if you double your money on your double deposit. In which, in that case, it's let us know. Send us a little something. We got you.
For sure. I mean, there's some easy ones too. There's flash promos going on all the time, by the way. So one of the best things they've introduced this year for the people who aren't playing there yet, NBA, obviously NBA players are ruled out constantly. When there's a big name player that gets ruled out, they freeze the lines of some other players and you can pick higher or lower, most likely higher on that line. So for example, let's just say LeBron is ruled out and Anthony Davis, before the news, had a points prop at 20 points. They're going to freeze it and not update it for 30 minutes. So you can go pick the higher. And then after the 30 minutes, obviously it's going to be adjusted. So there's a bunch of promos like that. There's also a promo going on right now, I do believe. If you sign up with the promo code Flurry right now, there's a half a yard prop for Joe Burrow tomorrow night. So as long as he passes for 1 yard, you already got half of your entry good to go if you do a 2-pick. So definitely go get that because that's, just free money. Got to take the free money. Stu asks, I'm going to direct it to you guys because everyone knows my answer. Gurley or D Rose?
It's got to be Derrick Rose, right? Excuse me. Like Todd Gurley, great for 2 years. Derrick Rose was great. Like, I don't know how many people watch high school basketball. Like, I'm a big high school basketball guy. High school, college, NBA. Like, Derrick Rose was, like, at that point, like, at Memphis, was like next coming to Jesus Christ. And then to see him go down, it was just so much sadder than Todd Gurley. And that's saying a lot for how much Trevor and I have talked about Todd Gurley on this program for the last 4 years. But it's still cool to see Derrick Rose still going, still balling. He's one of the only guys in the NBA that I think everybody roots for, right?
I agree, but talking about the next coming of Jesus, he rose from the dead on the third day with the Minnesota fucking Timber.
You're right.
T-Wolves D Rose.
He dropped like 45 and then disappeared.
For sure. But that's my D Rose. T-Wolves D Rose is my D Rose.
I'm going to counter that. I want to say D Rose, but I'm just going to say Todd Gurley. Here's why. NBA is 5 players on the court at one time. Andy had Thibodeau as a coach, which I don't know if that helps or hurts my case. But 5 players on the court. You can make a much bigger impact than one running back. Todd Gurley got his team to the Super Bowl, and Derrick Rose couldn't even win, 2 games against the Heat? So,
I mean, how many 3-pointers does Todd Gurley hit?
I disagree with that, Trevor. That was a very good Jared Goff year, and it was a very good Robert Woods year.
It was good Robert Woods year. You're not wrong about that.
Still the best Monday Night Football game of all time.
Certainly.
Insane game. Thoughts on giving up Aaron Jones for Pacheco straight up full PPR redraft? I don't hate it.
I don't love it.
I don't think you come away with it feeling amazing, like, oh, I stole him. But
what does Pacheco give you that Aaron Jones doesn't?
Consistency.
Yeah, consistent role, probably.
I think Aaron Jones is much more involved in the pass game.
Can we count on that, though, from week to week?
I think more than we can for Pacheco.
I think Pacheco scores touchdowns.
The PPR is what gets me, the full point PPR.
Sure, but, I mean, Aaron Jones, if he tweaks a hamstring...
He's done.
But you can say that about everybody.
Yeah, but he's already been hurt.
Right. But we've gotten into the zone now where Matt LaFleur has changed his game plan and now only gives Aaron Jones the ball.
How'd that work last week?
This is probably going to lead into Lombardi's sweep, but I don't really remember. I was violently hungover for that game.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't remember much from that game either. I was just trying to get through it.
It was just mundane
Bullshit.
But from both sides, it was just bad.
Dylan's high step made me laugh, though. I did like that for as ridiculous as it looked.
So stupid. He's the only person the high step once the defender's not there. Stu says Pacheco's much more likely to go ape shit while Aaron is a G. I mean, no doubt about the second part. It just, I don't know.
I would not do the trade. I don't think you gain anything crazy by doing that trade.
I agree that I don't think you're like miles apart better. It's just totally like, if you are an Aaron Jones owner, you have, withstood all of the bullshit since week 1. And like, maybe he feels like he's selling him while he has that small window of opportunity now. He's finally healthy. He finally did a little bit of something. Like, I could see that. And again, is that a reason to trade him or not? I think that's a personal preference thing. But I don't think trading him away for sure kills you. Like, I truly think it's pretty even.
I agree.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got all of our opinions. I don't think any of us think it's a terrible trade.
No, just going off of that, if this is the time to trade him for more than Pacheco.
Maybe. I honestly don't know. I think you can get more than Pacheco. You should be able to.
Mm-hmm.
I really hate single position for single position trades. I've said it a million times, I guess. So I would add in somebody else to get somebody else as well.
Yep.
Okay, let's do wide receivers here quick. I have Tyreek Hill number 1 versus the Raiders, Amon-Ra 2 versus the Bears, AJ Brown 3 at the Chiefs, CeeDee Lamb 4 at the Panthers, and I'm going with Stephon Diggs 5 versus the Jets. Luke, does anyone stand out to you from those 5?
Who did you have it for? I'm sorry.
CeeDee Lamb at the Panthers.
I mean, Dallas kind of finally figured out, I think I said this the last couple of weeks, but that if you give CeeDee Lamb the ball, good things are going to happen. I don't see why that doesn't continue. I think Dallas certainly has a shot to make a run at Philadelphia, especially if, Philadelphia's got a tough game this week. I think this is a big game for Dallas. I think CeeDee Lamb has to be involved for Dallas to be big, and I don't see why that changes this week. So, Zach, I absolutely love it.
Muted. He did it, folks.
It wouldn't be a show without Trevor muting it.
No, he's still going too.
Fuck.
It was a great point.
I know it was. As are all my great muted points. And then I unmute the mic and they turn horrible again. Crazy how that works. I'm just interested to see the Stephon Diggs blow up this week. It's going to happen. I don't know whether I like him or hate him because every time he blows up, he pisses me off a little bit. But he definitely had a point last week because I don't know what the fuck Buffalo does. I know Surtain, I think, was on him for, I don't know. I wasn't looking too closely, but you got to at least try to get this man the ball. I mean, we can stop fucking around with Gabe Davis. He's not that great at football. So it's going to happen. It's just whether he quits mentally before they start passing on the ball. Because if he quits mentally, I don't know if he's even top 10.
I feel like he has to. I mean, on one hand, Josh Allen needs to succeed without him this week, but I think Diggs needs to come through for his quarterback a little bit this week. I'm not sure if you caught Diggs' brother on Twitter tweeted that Josh Allen wasn't any good until Stephon Diggs got there, which
he's not wrong.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but so Josh Allen, I could see wanting to throw a touchdown to Gabe Davis or somebody like that early, but Diggs also needs to come through a little bit. And the Bills, they haven't done it all year long that I know of. I don't think they've called any plays for Stephon Diggs. It's just he's been open. He's gotten the ball. With the firing of Ken Dorsey, I feel like, we've seen, what's this guy's name? It's not Joe Madden. That's fucking good Charlotte. What's this guy's name?
Joe Madden is a MLB manager.
MLB manager? Joel Madden is good Charlotte. And
Yes.
The offensive coordinator it's the guy from fucking LSU.
Coach O.
I wish. Not Coach O. Where is he? He should be the offensive coordinator. Oh, fuck. What's this guy's name?
Odell Beckham Jr.
Bills OC. Not Ken Dorsey.
Joe Brady.
Joe Brady.
Thanks,
you.
Doof.
God damn. Yeah. I mean, he's going to throw the ball a shit ton. And He knows how to call plays for specific players.
Cam Thomas.
What about Cam
I
Thomas?
wish it was Cam Thomas from LSU.
I mean, fair enough, I guess.
All right, sorry.
But yeah, I think Diggs is going to get plays called specifically for him. It should be a pretty good week for him. I have Jamar Chase lower than the consensus for sure. 3 spots lower. I have him at 8. He hasn't really done a ton against Baltimore, and he's really struggled on the road historically in his career. I kind of want to put him lower than 8, to be completely honest. Even though T. Higgins out tomorrow night, they should be forcing him the ball. I just don't believe in Jamar Chase, but this is, an inherent bias with me, obviously.
I don't want to say it's a must-win game for Cincinnati, but it's probably pretty close to a must-win game, right?
I think so.
I would imagine that because of that, you give the ball to Jamar Chase, right? So, I'm with you. I think they force it. I think they pepper him with targets, and I think we've had this conversation how many times on the show. But Zach, I'm the opposite of Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase has a great week this week.
Should they pepper him with targets? Maybe, but just think of it. I mean, there's that defense that's calling plays too.
Right.
If I'm them, I'm saying, hey, beat us with Trenton Irwin.
Certainly.
Not with Jamar Chase.
Right. Cincinnati should get Jamar Chase to get the ball very easily, right? On slip screens, on one-on-one routes, stuff like that. So if that's the game plan, I totally love it. But yeah, I get it.
What's your thoughts, Trevor?
I agree with Luke on this one. It's just, I hate this part in fantasy. It happens every year with this. It's just, you expect one thing, it should be happening, kind of like with Pollard. He should be doing better, and it just doesn't happen. When do you trust him? When do you pull the trigger? When do you finally give up on him? So, it's a tough call, but I'd agree with Luke.
I will say, last week, trailing the entire game, no T. Higgins, season low in targets. So it's not like they had the mentality last week. They lost, so maybe they're like, that is the focus. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But yeah, he should.
Hey, you know who looked good last week?
Who?
Tyler Boyd.
Did he?
12 targets, I think 12.
Yeah, do you believe that? How was his touchdown catch?
Wasn't great, Cotton.
Jamar Chase is also from LSU.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
That's what I said specifically that Joe Brady would call plays for.
Oh.
I almost said Joel Madden again. Pater, would you flex Connor or McBride this week? I like them both. I'm flexing Connor.
Yep.
McBride is the second coming of Kelsis, kind of. I think this might be your last week for Trey McBride, though. I can't say this enough. If Zach Ertz comes back, he's playing. He's not going to sit on the sideline. There's no way. Eric, is Mostert an automatic starter this week? If so, who do I start him over? I have Jacobs and Walker. Initially, I said yeah. I was thinking yes, he's an automatic start. I think so. I'm starting him over Walker for sure, but I think that's a conversation to be had with him or Walker. But yes, I for sure like him more than Walker.
Okay.
Yeah, against the Raiders, it's tough to argue against that.
And Walker's been bad.
Yeah,
he's been, if not for a 70-yard catch last week.
That was awesome.
It was great. Minus that, it was like, okay. Seattle as a whole hasn't been anything lately.
Ever since they got to the top of the division, they've been shit.
Yeah, Geno's been bad.
Yeah.
Trey Palmer is also from LSU. Everyone's making fantastic points right now. Should I trade Tyreek or McCaffrey? I still have Lamb and Keenan Allen. Yeah, I would love that.
Do it now, right now.
Yeah, I get the hesitation because it's Tyreek Hill, but yeah, for sure. Especially with those two. Other wide receivers, anyone you guys desperately want to talk about?
Cooper Kupp.
I like him. I think Matthew Stafford comes back this week.
Only got to help him.
For sure. I am at 6. Yeah, I love Cooper Kupp this week. I think he gets
I'm with it.
immediately back on track.
Yep, I'm with you.
Trevor, any hesitancy from you?
Not at all. We've seen it enough times to know that he's trustable.
Would you? Yeah, never mind. I'm good.
I have Puka at 21 then as well. I think they can both be started.
I'm probably overthinking this, but in my guillotine league, I have two flexes. I need to make a decision between Gus Edwards, Cooper Kupp, and Javonte Williams. I think Cooper Kupp's a lock, right?
Yep.
So it's between Gus and Javonte.
I'm taking Javonte.
Let me look. I think I have Javonte a little higher. Yeah, I have Javonte at 16 and Gus at 20. It's close.
I agree. I think it's like a horse apiece.
Yeah. I mean, Javante's at least looked great. And by the way, we need to start talking about him more. Quinn Miners is so fucking good at football. UW Whitewater alum.
Oh, wait.
He is. He might be the best guard in the NFL. He's up there. He's so good. What was that, Luke?
I just realized I have David Montgomery, too.
Oh, I'm putting him obviously ahead.
Yeah.
Yep.
I put in a bid for $2 for him, and I got him.
Shit.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Congrats to you.
Touchdown only league?
No. Full point PPR.
Oh, okay.
Eric. One to start, Puka, Tank, or Addison. Addison's ruled out immediately for me.
Yep.
I think I'm going Tank. Where do I have him?
I love Tank Dell.
I do too. I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit about him because I think Nico Collins is back. But I actually have Puka a couple ahead of him.
I want Puka.
I like both. I don't think there's a wrong choice. But yeah, I guess I'd go Puka slightly higher. I like Tank Dell though. I mean, we talked him up a shit ton during the draft process for a reason. I mean, I don't know how many times we need to say this enough. I don't know who we missed on in the draft process, but that's fine.
I mean, let's look back on it. Hunt, look what happened with him. Thielen, he was going in 15th rounds. Look what happened with him.
I was talking NFL draft.
Oh, well, that too.
Like NFL draft. Look at all the rookies this year. It's like, where did this guy come from? Like, I don't know. The Flurry Sports stream in March. It's weird. I don't know.
We even talked about Puka. I just want to throw that out there.
And Keaton Mitchell. Half PPR. Pick my lineup. Quarterback is Allen or Fields. You go Allen.
Yep.
Swift. RB1. RB2 is Cook, Singletary, or Chandler. I mean, you go Singletary if Pierce is out. Otherwise, probably Cook, right?
Yep.
Wide receiver 1, Diggs. Wide receiver 2, Garrett Wilson. Tight end, Ingram or Njoku.
I'm going Njoku.
It's really close for me. I know that.
I'm going.
I have Ingram 2 ahead. I'm gonna go Ingram. Just I kind of need to see it with Robinson a little bit first. Flex, Ridley, Flowers, any of the running backs above. Madison, Pierce trending out. So I mean, let's just assume both of them are out. I think Madison's for sure out.
The flex has to be who he doesn't start between Cook and Singletary, right?
I would.
Yeah, probably. I like Chandler too, though. But
more than Singletary or Cook?
Kind of more than Cook. I'll assuming everyone's out, I would go Cook and Singletary. I think Chandler's worth a conversation though. But yeah, I'm not fully convinced he's the bell cow though. I think
Chandler?
they might. Yeah,
Agreed.
I think they might split it a little bit. I think he's the bell cow out of necessity last week.
Yes, out of game plan.
Like
game script, I should say.
Nwungu or whatever. Like he wasn't active,
Right.
so he'll be activated this week. I was hoping Michael Carter would go there, but he didn't make it. Cardinals claimed him first. Which
Makers is healthy.
I mean, I suppose. I wish he wasn't a bitch. Wide receivers higher, lower than the consensus. I am 6 spots higher on DJ Moore at 17, 4 higher on Kelvin Ridley at 27, 4 higher on Dotson at 35. Ooh, I don't like this. I'm 4 higher on Christian Watson at 41.
No.
4 higher on Odell at 45. I think he could have a big game tomorrow. 4 higher on Michael Wilson at 48. Yes.
Odell's touchdown, that was vintage, Odell.
Yeah.
That
Yes,
was
it
awesome.
was. Yes, it was. 2 weeks in a row touchdowns too, I do believe.
Yeah.
He looks back.
Yeah, he's a part of this offense, man. As much as people don't want him to be, he is.
And now he's about to tear his knee. The moment you said he's back.
No.
I think Odell's good. I think Odell's getting the ring he deserves this year.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't he? No, he won a ring with the Rams.
Yeah, but he got hurt. Like he's going to play and win.
He was going to be Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. He doesn't get to take ownership over the ring if he gets hurt. Legitimately. Like I that's how I believe, at least. I don't know.
What do you think? Speaking of rings, Denver's not giving Bones Highland a ring.
Really?
You see that? Yeah. I get it, but it's an interesting conversation to have to trade someone. Like, I don't think people should ever get a ring if they're not on the championship team, right?
Fully agree.
Yeah.
Fully agree.
Wait,
I also
traded away?
Last year.
When did they trade him?
He was on the team to start the year last year, and he wasn't at the end. I don't know if they traded him or cut him or whatever, but
yeah. So like he wasn't on the team for months. It's not like
correct.
There's no reason. He wasn't on the championship team.
I mean, partially yes, but also like if you haven't won a ring in 50 years, don't be so frugal about it.
No, be frugal.
No.
Offer it.
Does he get to call himself a champion?
No, he never won a championship.
No. Yeah.
You
know who did more for that team and deserves a championship ring then? Every person who went to a game.
That's not true.
He wasn't even in the arena.
Yes.
That's not true.
I would give Carmelo Anthony a ring over Bones Highland.
They did the same amount.
Stop it.
Yes.
No. Because he was probably on scout team every time he was there.
When? What?
Not at the end of the year. Not during the championship run.
No.
When was he traded?
Before the trade deadline.
Like in October last year.
Oh, he was traded in October?
Like early.
Doesn't matter.
No, he was traded February 9th.
Yeah, before the trade deadline. If he was cut the week before the playoffs started, does not deserve a ring.
He played 42 games with them and averaged 20 minutes a game. Yeah,
congrats.
No, he deserves a ring.
No way.
Look at his postseason stats from that year.
No way.
How many minutes did he average in the finals when they won the ring?
He was on scout team for half the year.
It doesn't matter.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You can't say that a fan is more important than somebody on the scout team.
Certainly.
You can't say that.
He wasn't on the scout team when they won.
Did Tyreek Hill get a Super Bowl ring last year?
He wasn't on their team at all last year, was he?
He wasn't on the Chiefs. Was Bones Highlands on the...
Tyreek Hill didn't play a game. Bones Highlands played half a fucking season.
4?
The Nuggets.
And who else did he play half a season for?
The Clippers. They did not win.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't get a ring.
Yeah. This isn't even a conversation.
He deserves a ring.
No way.
Yes, he does.
No way.
Yeah, no way.
If he played 20 games, maybe. He played 42.
Doesn't matter. It does not matter at all.
The only thing that matters for a championship ring to me is if you play in that last 7-game series, if you're on that team.
So hold up. Okay. So let's say who won the World Series this year? I don't even remember. The Rangers won the World Series. Okay. Adolis Garcia carried that team on his back for the entire playoffs. Got hurt in Game 2. He doesn't get a World Series ring.
No, he played in the World Series.
He played in the World Series. You're not even comparing the same thing.
But he didn't win them many games in the World Series. So why does it matter? What about
he's on the team?
He was on the team.
Does Jacob DeGrom get one?
He was getting a paycheck from the team. Bones Highland wasn't even getting a paycheck.
Does Jacob DeGrom get a World Series ring?
I don't know who that is.
He didn't pitch a fucking inning for him.
So DeAndre Jordan shouldn't get a ring for the Nuggets? He didn't play in the championship series, but he was on the team.
Yeah.
No.
Why are you somehow arguing now that someone who is on the team that wasn't healthy doesn't get a ring?
If you have played nothing and you were just on the team, you should not get a ring over a guy who played half the season and just wasn't on it at the very
disagree.
end.
What's your argument? You said Bones Highland deserves a ring because he was on scout team months ago, but someone who's on scout team the day before the championship doesn't get one?
Baseball's a different sport. He was injured. He couldn't do shit for the team.
You said DeAndre Jordan doesn't deserve it.
I don't know how long DeAndre Jordan was on that team, so I can't say
the whole
for
year.
Sure.
He was on the team when they won the championship. That's what matters.
Did he play in the World Series?
No.
He was play in the playoffs. He played 4 games in the playoffs.
None in the championship series, though.
He deserves a ring. He played in the playoffs.
Do assistant coaches deserve a ring too, or no?
Assistant coaches, absolutely. Half the time they run the offense.
Water boys?
No.
Okay,
wrong.
so water boys
What do you mean wrong?
You're a part of the team.
Yeah.
No, they're fucking not. The water boys, stop it. No.
They're directly doing something for the team. The guy who's not in the same city does not.
Oh boy, because a player couldn't pick up his water bottle without him.
Bones Highland wasn't there to do it.
Right.
He could have perhaps
paid by the team, Trevor.
He played a shit ton of minutes for him and scored a ton of points for him.
When? No, not when they were on the championship run.
Yeah.
Not during the run, but during the season, yes.
Carmelo Anthony had years of doing that, Trevor.
He didn't win a ring. He didn't even play the same season. They're not at all connected.
They're just as connected as Bones Highland is.
No, they're not.
I guarantee he was in the arena for one of the games.
Yes.
What makes you think Bones Highland wasn't?
I'm pretty confident
he was on a different team.
Yeah. Maybe he was for a different team. Was he on the Clippers in that championship run at all? Did the Clippers play the Nuggets?
Let me see. 2023.
They didn't.
Did they play in 2023?
I got to tell you, even if they did, does not matter. Like,
this is so sad that I can't remember who the fuck the Nuggets played in the championship.
Nuggets they swept the Lakers. They
beat Minnesota, Phoenix, and then the Lakers.
Okay. And Bones Highland averaged how many minutes in those series? I don't remember.
16 and a half.
He averaged 16 and a half minutes in those series?
He was not on any of those teams.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He helped slow down the Phoenix Suns by helping win a game for the Clippers.
I'm baffled. Like, this makes no sense.
Saying the water boys deserve a ring makes no fucking sense.
What are you talking about? Yeah, for sure. When teams win, they usually give every employee of the organization something. Like the secretaries get them. You know why? Because they're employed by the
secretaries is a little far.
They all work
I agree.
One goal.
But yeah, because they're a team. And someone who's not on the team doesn't deserve it.
Hold up. What did they get for Bones Highland?
Reggie Jackson, maybe?
A championship?
Yeah, right.
Like, that's what. Okay.
Denver acquires Thomas Bryant.
Boom. Okay. Did Thomas Bryant get a ring?
That does not help my argument. I was hoping it was somebody productive.
Would matter either way. Okay, tight ends. Travis Kelce at 1 versus the Eagles. Hawkinson 2 at the Broncos. I have Kincaid 3 versus the Jets. Mark Andrews 4 versus the Bengals. And I have Trey McBride at 5 at the Texans. Like I said, this might be his last incredible week. It's certainly going to be the last week that I have full trust in him, assuming Zach Ertz comes back next week. But Luke, do any of those guys stand out to you?
Well, it seems that with Dalton Kincaid is kind of the benefactor of the whole Stephon Diggs no situation. Although he was kind of like wide open, the Broncos forgot about him on that touchdown. This is a couple of weeks now where he like it seems like I don't want to say clearly, but he's the number one passing option in this offense now. So yeah, I'm riding Dalton Kincaid as long as I can. As long as Josh Allen continues to throw him the ball, I want Dalton Kincaid.
You could argue he's the safest tight end option right now.
Yeah.
Minus maybe TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, I agree.
Trevor, any more bad takes, or do you have a opinion on these tight ends?
I'm just what's your reasoning? Obviously, we know the Sam Laporta hype is huge. What is your reasoning on him not being top 5? I mean, below Trey McBride. I think we can see why he's below Kelsey, Hawkinson, Kincaid, and Andrews, but I deal with McBride over him.
He just hasn't been productive whatsoever. Like last week, he got 5 targets, 40 yards. He hasn't really done anything. He's in that 40 to 50 yard range. I would, if you're going for PPR, I'm guessing he gets you about 10 points this week. I don't think he has much upside in terms of touchdowns. And yeah, Trey McBride's getting peppered with targets. So, just PPR points alone, I'm just going with the guy who has a bigger role right now. Sam Laporta, I would assume, is going to be in blocking Montez Sweat a little bit, since the Bears decided that's who they needed to go get and extend.
Cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to interject there.
No, you're good.
I just want to answer Futslayer's 10's question here. He's asked it twice. A-Chain or David Montgomery? If A-Chain plays, it's David Montgomery.
Yes. Yep. I'm Montgomery at 5. A-Chain is borderline top 10 for me, but yeah. Start Burrow or Fields. I have Fields higher.
The interesting thing about this one is 6-point passing and rushing touchdown count for 6 points. I think you're fine either way because I think they each get minimum 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I have a hot Zach might think it's a stupid take. I don't know if Burrow gets 2 touchdowns this week.
I don't think that's a stupid take. I'm just assuming he does just because the Ravens haven't put together 4 quarters in a row really all year.
Yeah, and I'm just going back to my take. Like, I think it's a necessity for Burrow to score 2 touchdowns for them to stay in this playoff picture.
For sure. Like, I mean, it's going to take more than 2 touchdowns to win this game, obviously. Right. I don't think it's going to be even though almost every primetime game this year has been a low-scoring slugfest, I could see points tomorrow night.
Because they put the Jets in fucking primetime every week.
That's very true. I think the last I looked, the under has been like 24-7 or something.
Yeah.
So even with like low projected totals, we just haven't seen jack shit out of these primetime games. Other tight ends here. I think Cole Kmet gets a little bit better with Justin Fields back. I like Luke Musgrave. He's in my streamers articles that's going to be published a little bit later tonight. Chargers have been pretty terrible against tight ends, and Luke Musgrave is finally getting targeted in the middle of the field at least a little bit. Obviously, his upside is much higher than he's already shown. But on an offense with pass catchers that lack talent and most other good things, I think Luke Musgrave is extremely talented. I think he's really good.
I agree. If he can like run instead of falling every time he catches the ball, that's how many more points is that,
For sure. That's a combo of 2 things. Like 1, I think his ball tracking is not that great.
Agreed.
2, Jordan Love's not very accurate. Agreed. So it's a hard combo to mix together. But yeah. But he's been good.
Yep. Yep.
Michael Mayer's played 88 or more percent of the snaps in 3 or 4 straight weeks now. He hasn't really performed super well. He had that really nice touchdown catch last week, and I'm hoping he sort of builds upon that. I'm at 16. I think he's a low-owned guy who could blow up the rest of the way.
I agree. If you're in desperate need of someone.
For sure. Also, for desperate need, I like Tyler Conklin quite a bit. He's been extremely steady all year long, and just last 2 weeks, he's really done well. I mean, 13 catches, 136 yards. But he's like tight end 21 for the entire year, I think, and that's without scoring a single touchdown, which is pretty incredible, actually.
Agreed.
He's been, if you hate Zach Wilson or if you think he has potential, regardless, like Tyler Conklin's the easy target.
Yep.
And Wilson's finding him. That's about it for me. Any other tight ends before? There really isn't anything to compare the consensus either.
No, it's just another year of straightforward tight ends. We know who's good, we know who's bad, and people should have an idea of what it takes to kind of blossom or kind of give you a spark for tight end. And I think, like you said, like Conklin's one of them, Mayer's one of them. There's a couple guys that they're diamonds in the rough if you want to call them that. So take a shot at them. Don't be stuck with sitting on a tight end that hasn't done anything like Gerald Everett all year. Go pick someone up.
I think Evan Engram might be a sell high guy with Zay Jones back.
Yep.
If you're looking to trade. Stoof, is Schultz resigning in Houston? I would guess so.
I hope so.
We'll see. I don't know who is in the market for a tight end who would be willing to pay more than Houston. Maybe. I mean, we'll see what New England does, I suppose. He seems like a guy who could go to the Patriots.
God, I hope not.
And immediately have his value plummet.
I guess. I don't know what the Patriots are going to do, but boy, it's a interesting situation there. Hopefully they come out of the bye with Malik Cunningham. That'd be at least fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it for me. Obviously, Dallas Goedert's out this week. Fractured arm. I don't think he was put on IR, though, was he?
I think so.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Jack Stoll, I think, is going to be the better tight end in Philadelphia. That doesn't mean anything other than for DFS, probably. Cincinnati, I think if you're playing DFS tomorrow night, I have more trust in Tanner Hudson than I do Irv Smith Jr.
Yep.
So that's a super cheap guy for you. Pat Freiermuth, I think, is going to come back this week, and I don't care. He's not a guy you need to pick up. Like, I would prefer Mayer, Conklin, etc. over him.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Justin, sorry. Won't jump you up. Pick 2. PPR, Gus Edwards, Singletary, and Chandler. Let's assume everybody's out. Let's assume Pierce and Madison are out.
I'm going Gus and Singletary. Like, am I going to get fucked on that? Maybe, but I want to see it again from Chandler.
Same
here. Chiefs run 2 tight ends. Kelsey and Schultz. Who needs a wide receiver? I don't hate that.
Chiefs got to bring back Demetrius Harris.
Yeah.
Milwaukee. Yeah.
Hey, he was a touchdown machine there for a sec.
Yeah, he was.
You know who
in my mind. I don't know.
You know who you also bring back? Don Terry Poe to throw goal line passes.
True.
I'm still pissed at if a defensive player throws for a touchdown, should the defense and special teams get the points for that?
No. Trevor.
I want them.
If they're not on the field, they don't get the points.
If
they're not on the floor,
player,
they're not on the team, they don't get a championship ring.
He's a defensive player. I want him to get the points.
No. I mean, there's a while where I think there was a minute. I think Yahoo at least made J.J. Watt tight end eligible for a second when he went on that weird stretch, which was fun.
I think that all players should be draft eligible in the NFL.
For like fantasy, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Even if you don't play IDP.
Like, what would be their default position then, though? Are you saying like regular? I mean, you know what that you could do is everyone's flex eligible.
Yeah.
No, I want a Vince Wilfork running back.
I mean, it'd be the same thing though. Like, instead of having to pigeonhole them in at running back, you're just like put them in flex. I think it's okay.
You know what we should do next year? A premium fullback league.
No.
I mean, yeah, for sure. No, like there's clearly,
4.
Yeah, like it's not fun when it's like one person gets the guy and it's like, okay, he wins.
I disagree.
Justin Goff or Mahomes this week. Never thought I'd be asking, but here we are. I'm going Mahomes, but it certainly is closer than you would have thought, obviously, prior to the season.
Yep. Yeah, Justin, I get it, but I think, like, I don't want to say you have to go Mahomes, but go Mahomes. You can have a lot more fun too.
Yeah.
Also, Mahomes is Monday night, so you have the extra buffer. You know, if you're like waiting to see what everyone else does, and you know how much you have to make up.
And the Bears, I don't think, are going to be pressuring the Lions offense to score a ton of points to win that game.
Agreed.
So, you might get a second half that's extremely run heavy for Detroit. Stu heard Josh Gordon stole Andy's Nuggies. That's my favorite NFL commercial this year, by the way. It's not even close.
Good.
Shout out Josh Gordon.
Shout out Andy Reid. Dylan redraft offer, trade Andrews, Mixon, Cook. So Andrews, Mixon, and Cook for Kelsey and Bijan. 12-team PPR, and that's his team. I'm not going to read it all. So his running backs right now are Mixon, Cook, Pollard.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing it.
I'm not.
Yeah, can't do it. I like getting Kelsey, but you can't be giving away running backs given your current running back depth.
For a running back who's not producing like much.
Right. It's not like you got a clear RB1.
Right.
Cross, would you start Kyler or Fields? Kyler.
Yep.
We need more 3-team trades like last week. Was that last week or was that 2 weeks?
That was a 4-team trade last week.
4-team trade.
Yeah.
That was a fucking fever dream.
By the way, I did not. The 3-team trade wasn't accepted because the guy was like, Hurts and Kelsey are on bye, and I'm playing you this week, and so I'm gonna beat you and not accept the trade. Well, joke's on him because I kept Mike Evans, so I beat his ass anyways. So keep in mind, don't decline a trade over a single week win.
I agree. I completely agree. Vikings fan here. Fuck you. When do you see Dobbs fortune going south? It's bound to happen this week. Does luck continue? I don't think it's gonna die out yet. Got to get the Vikings fans' hopes up.
I also don't necessarily think it's luck.
No,
it's not. It's not luck, but he's certainly exceeding expectations right now.
Sure. Like, I don't know that I've ever done a 180 more on a player than I've done on Josh Dobbs this year. I believe our very first show, I said that Dobbs is fucking horrible and shouldn't deserve a job in the NFL.
His whole thing, Dobbs is perfect for an offensive scheme that's good.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is he's he's literally a rocket scientist. Like, he can diagnose the defense well. And if his only task is throwing to the open player, if the player's open, he can do that. And I think Kevin O'Connell's really good.
Plus, he gets Jefferson back.
Right. With that being said, the Vikings will fail for sure. Yes. Listen to this, stretch though. He's got the Broncos, the Bears, then a bye week, then the Raiders, Bengals, Lions, Packers, Lions. So I assume they get quite a few wins. I could see them beating the Bengals. And then those final 3 games are going to be very important. Detroit, Packers, Detroit. It's going to be tough for Dobbs, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where it comes to play.
I think they're going to go 0-3 in those.
Yeah, I think there's a chance.
Which, if he's talking fantasy, the season's pretty much over by then. So fantasy-wise, you're fine. But if you're talking overall, yeah.
Unless, it's championship weeks, which is tough. I'll get to that in a second. Last one, asked Justin, what do we make of Amari Cooper rest of season? I said earlier with the Thompson Robinson, I think that hurts him more than any other player on the Browns right now.
Yep.
With that being said, rest of season, I'm not convinced Thompson Robinson's the quarterback the rest of the way either.
No.
But I think Amari Cooper is probably a matchup-based wide receiver 3. It's kind of where I'm valuing him.
Agreed. I bet Cleveland wishes they still had Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. or fucking Baker, or a lot of players, man. Okay, Cross, H.A. and Saquon for Eckler. I'm 8-2 and getting ready for the playoffs.
Ooh.
That's tough.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. At first, I didn't like it because I'm like, I want RB depth going into the playoffs. However, where do you guys project Saquon the rest of the way, assuming the Giants continue to suck?
Not great.
I think every week Saquon's an RB2, at least an RB2.
When he's healthy, if he
gets Eckler's a bona fide 1.
But like if Saquon twists an ankle, I feel like he's sitting.
I don't think so.
Really? I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too negative. I just don't know why a star would play through an injury for a team that's tanking.
I get it, but he's done it in the past.
You're not wrong.
I'm taking Eckler because you're gonna start Saquon, but and you're probably gonna start A-Chain, but how much can you? We talked about the Miami backfield. How much can you trust A-Chain to bust a long one off every single week? I mean, he's done it, but can you really trust it? And are you going to take the risk of losing on an Eckler for that? I wouldn't.
I don't fully trust the Chargers offense just to support Eckler RB1 numbers the rest of the way.
I think regardless of which side you land on, I think you can get more for A-Chain and Saquon.
Sure.
Probably, yeah.
Because I still think Saquon is valued at low-end running back 1 right now.
Yeah.
I think A-Chain's close.
You can get Saquon to a running back needy team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I assume the person you're trading with needs running back depth. Otherwise, I don't know why they would be trading away Eckler.
Right.
For 2 running backs. So, yeah, I think you can get more.
I don't know.
Okay. Here we go. Stu. Desmond Ridder is perfect for an offensive scheme that's not on TV.
You're damn right.
I agree. Sort of a face for radio situation. And then he says Jordan Love. Also true. I've heard a lot of positive things about Jordan Love this week, though. People think he's looked really good. I can't imagine those people have watched the games, but everyone's saying he's looked really good lately, which is awesome. Great. Fine. I don't know. I'm not sure how, but that's okay. Anything to close us out on before we come back for Lombardi sweep? Quick.
I don't think so. Join the Underdog Fantasy. Flurry, promo code.
Yeah, last pitch here. QR to help you out, but just join Underdog Fantasy in the App Store, on your computer, wherever. Use promo code Flurry upon sign up. You get a 100% deposit match, $100 for free. And especially once NFL season's done, we can really focus on NBA. I foresee us having some underdog-specific shows.
Oh, yeah.
So you can make money along with us. I would really like to have shows during games.
Yes.
Because I think in-game picks on Underdog are easier than pre-game.
Correct.
I'd agree.
I think there's a lot of value there. But yeah, we'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes. Stu, thank you for this. And also, what's going on?